Welcome to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM. I'm Louise Kaunisela. Violence against women and children in the country continues to be a big problem. You only have to read or hear the news to realize the reality of the situation. Rape is a gross violation of human rights with long-term devastating impact. It has life-changing effects that range from pregnancy, sexually transmitted disease, and an unwarranted sense of shame. Just recently, a grandfather had been charged for allegedly raping his 5-year-old granddaughter and an uncle for allegedly raping his 9-year-old niece, and so on. Our women have been dying now more often than ever at the hands of their partners. My guest today is the Fiji Women's Crisis Coordinator, Shamima Ali. Welcome to Speak Your Mind.
Thank you very much, and a very good afternoon to everyone.
It's lovely to be with you. Now, what are some of the reasons you think contribute to cases of violence against women and children in the country, Shamima?
Well, actually, the root cause of this is patriarchy, the patriarchal structures, the gender, the unequal gender powers, gender relations between men and women, the way we are brought up, the whole socialization process and things like that. So it's embedded in that. And we're a very patriarchal society, male-dominated, men have a strong sense of entitlement and so on.
Right.
So that is the root cause, and we need to promote gender equality and treat women equally, girls equally, and so on, and we can then do something about it. And the other thing is there are a whole lot of contributing factors, and that is like the kind of attitudes we have towards women. So if a woman gets beaten up, we say, most probably her fault. She's disobedient. We justify the violence. A woman gets raped, a young woman gets raped. Oh, she was drinking with the boys, or her clothes.
Or they'll probably say something like, "Oh, just lay back and enjoy it,"
or something like that, jokes and everything.
Terrible,
but blaming her for the clothes, where she was drinking, she was doing this, she was doing that. And when a child gets raped, they ask, where was the mother? Even though it's the father that's raping, So always the blame goes back to the women or to the survivors and so on. That attitude is very much there. They're also like, using culture and religion and using it to keep women down, to oppress them, and justifying the violence. So, so there are a whole lot of factors. Then you have things like, a downturn in the economy, poverty, all these things that contribute towards that. Stress, where men take out their stress on women. They are the most vulnerable. They most probably won't report them. So a whole lot of things are at play. But at the heart of it all is gender inequality.
Yes, I totally understand that, what you've said. Thank you very much, Shamima, very clear. Now, can you explain, for the benefit of the listener, what gender stereotypes mean?
Gender stereotyping is when we stereotype people on assumptions. There's no truth to it. So, women are very weak. They can't do heavy work. Women don't have the body to play rugby. So we're stereotyping them. Or men can't cook. They're men, men shouldn't be cooking. So we're stereotyping them that they can't do certain things based on assumptions.
Okay.
So we stereotype them. So, and then often it's false, and often it is, it puts the person that we are stereotyping at a disadvantage. So, when we start stereotyping women, saying, oh, they can't do that because they don't think logically, they are the weaker sex and things like that, then we deny them access to development.
Right.
So therefore, we stop their access to playing sports, access to doing science subjects, to becoming scientists, pilots, and so on. Because they can't think logically, they're too emotional and things like that. So, we put people at a disadvantage. We also, when we say, oh, men can't cook, they can't do this, they can't do that because they are men, only because they are men. Of course they can cook and everything else. So that also often works to the men's advantage, but it puts women at a disadvantage because then, I can't ask a man to cook because he can't cook and he's not supposed to be cooking and things like that.
Because I'm supposed to be serving him.
Yes. So
because I'm a woman.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but no, that is not right. I mean, I reckon that, equality is the best way to go.
Yes.
Just respect one another, love one another, help each other. What's so hard about that?
Yes.
No powers, no heirs.
Yes, and we're getting some good stories, out from our communities where we have been going often and working with the men and the women and the children, very rural communities. And there have been changes over the years. The changes have come about whereby men are assisting their women. The women are saying, oh, he brings in the firewood, gets everything ready for me. He brings in the water. I used to do that before while he slept. And the men are saying they are more relaxed at home because there's no conflict. So it can be done. Those changes are coming about, but it does take a lot of effort.
Yes.
And we have to be committed to putting in that effort.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, it's really good to see now that women taking part in rugby, like,
Yes.
really
Fijiana
good.
did so well.
Yeah,
Yes,
Fijiana were
yeah.
too good. I mean, they're just coming up really fast. So, I mean, women are more than capable of doing what a
Yes,
man does as well.
You provide the opportunities, the support, and kudos to FRU. And there are very good women there and some good men in there also
Yeah.
who have really encouraged and provided a supporting and enabling environment. So if you provide that, men and women can do anything.
Fantastic.
Especially women.
Okay, we'll move on to the next question. I'm just asking you these ones, just to be simplified in case someone might not know what it actually means. What is gender-based violence?
Okay. So we use the word gender, and sometimes people interchange it, gender and sex, but that's not so. Sex is whether you're male or female, how you are born, with the various body parts and the things one can do. Women can get pregnant, men impregnate. These are biological differences. So it's a sex, female or male. And then, of course, you have other sexes now and so on.
Right.
And that's another thing. So now people would call it gender. So you say it's transgender and things like that. But sex is male or female. And gender is what we make. So we take the sexes and then we socialize them. And then so we say, or the expectations of men and the expectations of women. Men, leader, macho, strong, powerful, making decisions, chief, this, that, and the other. Then we say the women, the expectations are do the housework, be obedient, be a virgin, and all those things. So the attributes we give to them and we expect from them, that then changes into gender.
Right.
So the gender, so that is the gender of a person, is the roles that we give to them, the various gender roles. And those are learnt and they can be unlearned. And then and that is where the problem is. Then how do these two then relate to each other? So gender-based violence is based on that gender definition.
Right.
The roles that we give to women are weaker roles, less powerful roles, whereas men have got very powerful roles. So the power relations are not equal. These are the one making the decisions, giving the orders and so on. These are the doers, the obedient people, the people who are gentle, the people who don't raise their voices. So these two cannot, relate to each other equally.
Yes.
And when they can't relate to each other, this one has got the power, this one has got the power and control. So this is the one has the ability to perpetrate violence on the other one.
Yeah, that's so
gender-based
really good.
violence is that based on gender. So,
Right.
And it is a very gendered crime, meaning it's gendered because it is directed towards one gender, and that is women.
Okay, I get what you mean. So, like you've explained very clearly, thank you, Shamima, that the power and the control. Women are not supposed to talk back. Just do it. Don't complain. And then even the women themselves, they have that that thinking. Through the Bible. I'm supposed to be submissive to my husband, and even though she's getting black eyes every second day, or whatever.
Yes.
So I mean, it's a big control over a woman to actually give in and say, I'm doing this because I should.
And we internalize it because we grow up like that, and it's generation after generation. We see our grandmothers, our mothers, all of them obeying and sticking to those gender norms.
Yes.
So we start doing it. So we internalize. We start believing that's the way the world is.
Right.
And we start acting it out.
Yeah, that is so true. But we'll have more on this topic that we're talking about on Speak Your Mind. Gold FM, only the classic hits. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. My guest in the studio is from the Fiji Women's Crisis Center, the coordinator Shamima Ali, and we're talking about, well, obviously violence against women and children as well as rape. Now, we were saying about, how women accept the fact as passed from generation to generation that they are supposed to be the one submissive to their husband.
Yes.
So it's ingrained in their brain.
Yes. And you internalize it, and then they start acting it out. And men, when they're told, you're the leaders, the whole world is out there, you can do whatever you want to do, you are the decision maker, and these women have to cater for your needs. So they are learning also. They're learning and they're internalizing, so they start acting it out. But one thing I have found that when we work with men, after the first 2 days of awareness and sensitization, what I call the good human being men, they say, oh my goodness, that is so true. This is what I have been doing, and we need to change.
Yes.
And you've got some bad ones who will never change.
Yeah.
But what is good is the program we do with men, we see a lot more good changes for the better than for the worse. So, so it can be done, yeah. So, and then, so that internalization, then what happens is that we start believing it, then we institutionalize it. So it starts reflecting in our workplaces, where in our policy making, in our legislation, in the way we behave, wherever we go, whether we're in the churches, in the religious institutions, in our cultural environment, or wherever we are, we start acting exactly like that. Women serve the food, eerie the men when they are eating and things like that, and the men will eat, and that expectation is there, So, but what is good to see is that these things, because of years of work by organizations like us and
Right.
government efforts in recent years and things like that, changes are coming about. And a lot of women are reporting violence. A lot of younger women, professional women, are not standing for any kind of violence. So, those changes are coming. And men are saying, no, we want to have a happy life, and I respect my wife, and I will share the chores. Slowly, but surely the change is coming.
Oh, lovely. That's good to hear.
Hope it's in my journey, in my lifetime.
Yes, I mean, I see a lot of changes as well. I know we have that certain amount of people who will never change, but who knows? Now, about cyber violence against women, are you familiar with this, or cyber stalking?
Yes. These are new things that are coming in that are being reported at the crisis center. So cyber violence is about, like from what we have learned, what we know, the kind of cases that are coming is online violence. Basically online violence whereby you bully women, you show naked pictures of women, you send naked pictures, you stalk women, you go on the Facebook page and like everything, and then if she blocks you, then you find another way of getting back to her and demanding to be friends and things like that. So, so all these things are happening, bullying. And also another thing that we're finding out is where, a couple might have been in a relationship, a sexual relationship, and he's taken pictures of her, very compromising positions. And so she, and then when they break up or she breaks up with him, he's threatening her. Sextortion, that is called sextortion. Like if you don't come back to me, I will expose you. I'll expose all these pictures, or send me some more pictures. We've got a case where send me some more pictures, otherwise I've got some more here and I'll show you all of this. Send me some recent naked pictures of you. So these are some of the cases that are coming to us. The other one is where they what do you call it, superimpose or something. They take off the head of the person and put it on a naked body, so that when people look, so those kind of pictures.
So that's just a total lie.
Yes, total lie and things like so. Women are going through that also.
Okay, so when they do come to you and make complaints of this, what is done next? Is it reported to the police, or do we have an online safety commission that maybe try to do something about it?
Yes, we have that. Look, I would basically say that there is a cyber unit and all those things. We are having a lot of difficulty in getting the cases, the perpetrators charged.
Because they hide behind probably a false name and false account.
But even when the perpetrator, we know his picture is there on the thing, and it's really, there is something lacking within the police and so on, that we are not able to do that. I've got 2 cases which have been with us for over 3 years, and
nothing's been
all
done.
the proof is there, all the evidence is there, everything, but no one has been charged, or there hasn't been tried. So we continue to push those cases. And then other cases, people come for counseling because they're really traumatized. Women become suicidal because it's so embarrassing and shameful,
Exactly.
And then all the trolling that goes on of women. There's the other cyber violence that is happening, which I didn't mention, was, recent cases of high-profile men who have been accused of rape, allegations of rape. So instead of supporting women, the women who have made the allegations, people are shaming them and saying bad things, swearing at them and so on. And it's coming from both men and women. So, trolling them and things like that, and body shaming, all those kind of things. So So what we do is we do the counseling, and if she wants to report, we try our best. We have an online commissioner, so we're also trying to work with her. Our legal team and our counselors are trying to work with her to be able to bring these cases and have justice for the people who are being abused in this manner. Yes.
I mean, these men should be charged and punished for what they're doing. No one deserves emotional abuse.
Yes.
I mean, imagine living with that in your brain, and they continue to do that. But anyhow, I believe the Fiji Women's Crisis Center provides 24/7 telephone counseling for women and children in the country at risk of or are experiencing domestic violence. Around how many calls has the FWCC received in the past? Around?
We received, like this weekend we had 2 heavy cases. So just for 2 centers, we had one in the West and one here in Suva. So just in the weekend, we have the 24-hour lines. We've got the national toll-free line, 1560, that anyone can call, and it should be answered. It's not answered, you should call me. It's 1560, and it's toll-free, and you can call from any phone.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So not just anyone. So, and for the toll-free line, on an average, in a month, we would get about 40 to 60 calls. Emergency calls. So this could be, most of them are domestic violence calls. There are also suicidal calls, some a small percentage. There's also children calling for rape, and some rape calls also. But we take them all in and we provide emergency crisis counseling, and then we do the referrals as required and things like that. So about that much. But in a weekend, on an average, people would get about 10 to 15 calls on all the 24-hour lines throughout Fiji.
That's a lot.
That's quite
Really a lot. So, okay, we'll have to come back on Speak Your Mind. Thank you for your company on Gold FM, only the classic hits, your only classic hit station in the country. Be sure to tune in to us. This is Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. My guest in the studio is from the Fiji Women's Crisis Center, the coordinator Shamima Ali. Now, can you please tell me what kind of emergency assistance does the FWCC give a woman or a girl who has got in touch with you?
So if it happens by phone, we're immediately there. There are people on standby. There are drivers on standby, or taxi companies that we use. They are on standby. So if she needs to be removed, she needs the police to go over there. We liaise with the police to go over there and get her out if it's too far away from us. And then we'll be waiting somewhere to get her in, and then we start the counseling. The process starts. If she wants to go for medical, we'll accompany, court system, everything. So all of that, as long as she needs our help, accompaniment, until she says, I'm okay to do this by myself. A lot of the women, of course, need the counseling and so on, the information, all the information we can give her, how she can get a DVRO in rape cases, what are the things, the steps she can take, what does the law say, and so on. Then in domestic violence cases, we often find the women might reconcile, but that's okay. What has happened, and that's okay too, because women will go and come before they eventually decide to leave or things get better. So, we just have to be there for her. It can be
either side, either get worse or it could get better.
So, but we are there for her.
Right.
And if she goes back, we teach her safety measures, have a safety plan and things like that.
Okay.
And if we assess, if the counselors assess that they are in danger, at risk of losing their lives or something, at higher risk, then they will warn them about it and have all the safety measures in place, all the phone numbers and things like that, So we do also referrals and things like that, where they can get better services or services that we don't provide and so on.
Okay, so what are the signs if a man is going to, have that thought of actually murdering his partner?
Yeah. Well, you see, we really can't tell. The woman is the one who can assess. If she says, look, I'm safe at the moment, he won't do anything like that, we have to trust her, but we'll still give her the safety measures. The highest risk is when he realizes he's going to lose her. And he finds out she's going to leave, or she tells him, I'm leaving you. That is the highest risk for women, because he really doesn't want her to go. He wants that power and control over her. Who is going to bully? Who is going to do his food? Who's going to look after him? He really doesn't want to lose her. So that's the highest risk for women. So we say, if you are planning to leave, do it very quietly, inch by inch. have a safety plan in mind, and if you can't do it by yourself, the crisis center is always there. And I can tell you, we are the best in terms of safety, in terms of, we don't guarantee that we're absolutely right all the time. Sometimes things can go wrong, but most of the time we will give you the best.
Yeah, but that is so true, Shamima, is that when you want to leave the person,
Yes.
and that man is not going to accept it.
Yes.
I mean, we've had examples in the past, but we'll get to that. So we'll just go on to what are the statistics of domestic violence cases like in the past few years.
It's been pretty high. The national survey shows high rates of domestic violence in this country, intimate partner violence. About 64% of women have experienced physical, sexual, emotional violence and coercive control and things like that. And from the crisis center, almost every year, we're seeing over 1,000 people, children, girls, boys, women, and for rape, for sexual harassment, for all that. Of that, slightly over 50% are domestic violence cases. And if you look at police statistics, that also show that the highest numbers that are being reported are domestic violence cases, which is a good thing. The more they report, the more services are effective. We can measure the effectiveness of service providers, the prevention work, and so on, and women becoming aware of their rights, so the reporting is increasing. But those are the kind of numbers that we have.
Okay, so just what is indecent assault? What's the difference between that and sexual assault?
So indecent assault is touching inappropriately and also touching over the clothes, the bottom, the breast part, and things like that above there. So touching over the clothes, inappropriate, meaning the sexual parts, so touching in the front, the back.
Yeah, and they can still be charged for that.
For that, yes. And then you have sexual assault where there's actual touching of the skin, prodding, poking, licking, and things like that inappropriately, all those things. So that will be sexual assault. And then we've got rape, which is actual penetration of the vagina, the anus, either with tongue, penis, objects, and so on.
Okay, thanks very much. Now, what is the law reform process like in the country, Shamima, when it comes to introducing new legislation to deal with crimes of violence against women?
Yes. Well, we have got good legislation. I can't say much about the process because there needs to be a lot of consultation, a lot of awareness and things like that. So we've got good legislation around domestic violence. The Crimes Act, has got good legislation around rape. And then we've got the Child Protection Act and things like that.
Okay.
Some areas need to be improved a lot. Our laws need to be reviewed. Where we fall flat is at the implementation stage. We also have gender-neutral laws that does not take in the gendered aspect of domestic violence, of rape, and things like that. So that's problematic.
Okay.
But a review is due soon of the DV legislation, DV Act. But it's implementation because people go in with that attitude. They don't know the law too well. They don't know how to, the police and so on. So we help out a lot in doing things like that. So that is where the problem is. But I think Fiji is leading in the type of legislation that it has around violence against women and girls.
Lovely. Now, what about the sentencing for crimes of violence against women? Are you satisfied with what is being handed down by the court?
Well, definitely, over the years, and that's through the hard lobby that groups like ours have put up, and from getting 3 years and then coming out on parole to now getting 10, 15, and so on. So that, of course, has improved. What the problem is the backlog of cases, how long it takes for rape cases to see the light of day, and so on. So that is the problem now, But as far as sentencing is concerned, we are quite happy with it. But we'll be happier if when they are convicted and in prison, there is some work, a re-education work of their minds, because it's an attitude, it's a belief system that causes rape. It's not about stealing from someone, rape and domestic violence, child assault, child rape, and things like that. So that needs to be introduced into the prison systems, that kind of thing, and they will be more satisfied. Domestic violence, again, a lot of reconciliation, a lot of attitudes within the judiciary comes out that influences cases and things like that. So, while the laws are good, a lot of improvement can be in actually the whole process of somebody being charged and appearing in court and things like that.
Yeah, it's
and
very slow.
And so on. Yeah.
I don't know why they take so
it's slow,
long.
But it's also like people have this, we must keep the family together at any cost. So we are saying, listen, last year 9 women died at the hands of their husbands, and about 9 years for a small country like ours is huge. So we need to protect and ensure the safety of women and recognize how dangerous domestic violence can be.
Oh man, very dangerous. I mean, when this man is out to
Yes.
go for that woman, he is going for
Yes,
kill.
yes.
And, by hook or by crook, he wants to kill that poor woman.
Yes, yeah.
My goodness me. I mean, geez, it's just scary to think about.
It's about losing power and control. It's about it's how dictators, when they know they're losing control and they start going around shooting everybody, killing everybody, and things like that.
Right.
So really oppressing further, the oppression becomes deeper and harder, and so on. And that's exactly the way this power and control works.
Because I believe that's a big problem for us. I mean, last year, it was, like you said, 9
Yes.
killed
9
by
women.
their
Yes.
intimate partners.
And-
Some were really young, but we'll come back to that soon
Yes.
on Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. I do hope you're enjoying the program. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. My guest is from the Fiji Women's Crisis Center, the coordinator, Shamima Ali. Now, just picking up from where we left off, about 9 women lost
Yes.
their lives
Yes.
to,
And 2 babies and 2 children.
and 2 children as well. I mean, this is absolutely awful. I mean, what about if a man threatens his woman? Can he be charged for that as
Oh,
well?
yes, you can.
Like,
yeah.
just say, for instance, this man has, a knife and says something, you watch
Oh,
out, I've
yes.
got a knife here. I mean, what would you
Yes,
advise
certainly.
the woman that may be going through that?
Yeah, I would say to you, get help as soon as possible. If you can't get to a police station, or if anybody like the police or anyone doesn't listen to you, call the crisis center and get to a place of safety as quick as possible, because these are not empty threats. Our experience shows that these are not empty threats, because the person who died in Lambasa, one of the women who died, she was being threatened. He threatened to do all those things. She did go and report, but she was told that those are only threats and things like that, So it just, and then he stabbed her, and stabbed her to death and things like that. So
Because once it's
yeah.
in their mind, they really want to
Yes,
do that.
especially when they know she's not coming back.
Yeah, that's the main thing. So, that's a warning for
Yes.
our women to be very careful of. I
They
mean,
do that, yeah. Lie low, find a place of safety, reporting, and so on. And I also say to women, a lot of cases we get them out of very dire circumstances and things like that. And then after a while, she wants to go back.
see, that's the biggest
Yes.
problem,
Yeah,
Shamima.
yeah. But there are reasons also why. If you are stuck with 4, 5, 6 children, and
Okay,
if you
right.
don't have a job, where you're going to go, and these kids need a home and so on. So there are lots of things why women go back, and how society looks at women who are divorced and separated. They look down upon the woman, not the man. We start looking for a new wife for him immediately, but the women are looked, there's a stigma attached to that. She's financially dependent. She thinks she can make it work and things like that. So there's a whole lot of reason they go back. I say to women, if you're going to go back, get proper counseling for yourself and for him also. He must come to the table.
Try to
And
change
he
his
has to change
mindset as well.
mindset and things like that. Those things need to happen, because it's going to start again. And we're seeing people for over 10 years, 8 years, and things like that, who keep coming and going. Yeah.
I mean, you have to have really thick skin to, be doing what you're doing, seeing all and helping all these poor women out.
Yes.
But what can you say about domestic disputes and arguments that lead to the victimization of children?
Look, the children are affected in many, many ways which we don't realize. In fact, some of us call it violence against children. Children watching and experiencing this violence, their mother getting beaten up, sworn at and humiliated. And sometimes women are raped in front of their children by their husbands, the fathers of these children. So we've got cases like that also. So you can imagine they stay away from school, the education is impacted, and that gives rise to employment, lack of employment. These are all developmental issues. They are very, very prone to or vulnerable to criminal activities, so it's an
Yeah.
implication for law and order. They can be influenced. They're also at high risk of being abused themselves and things like that, and the drugs and everything else. They're out on the streets. They don't want to stay in a home where all this is going on. So the impact is great on children also. Look, we had 2 kids murdered during during 2 domestic violence cases here in Fiji last year.
So the men were both drunk?
One of them
One
was
of
drunk.
them
One
was.
of them was drunk, and I think and then we've had another case where he put a newborn child at risk and things like that. So they get so the child is the bargaining thing for some of these perpetrators. with the woman.
Heartbreaking.
Yes, very
Absolutely
much so, yeah.
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Shamima, you've said although men have been involved in most of the violent acts against women, you believe they can change their behavior. How?
Oh, yes, I can. We've seen it through our men's program. I've seen men change. I have seen men change, but also through the women. Once women get the information and they have the courage to go and talk to their husbands about these things, and they've said once the man also knows that she's seeking help and she's talking to him, but she's not leaving him, there have been changes that have come about. But the best way is when we do our male advocacy programs, we get the man in and we go through all these things and, women's work and what women do, just really looking at women and what they do and things like that, the kind of violence there is in this country. I've seen the change. And women, some wives have said, I've got a changed husband. He doesn't yell at me anymore. He's more helpful around the house and things like that. But that's after the sensitization. And it has to be the right one. Okay. And I believe that it's the women like us, our organizations, that should be working with the men. And then later on, then the men can take over. But we also find that programs started by men, there's a lot of collusion and they start feeling sorry for each other and they do not look at the evidence base that there is out there. What is the root cause of the violence? Patriarchy. They do not question it. And if we don't do that, if we're not on the same page, we are not going to make inroads into this.
Thank you, Shamima. Now, just talking on rape, okay? Now, this is a live radio talkback show. If you want to share with us maybe something that you'd like to highlight or, just an opinion or a question, you can call 3220-906 or 7732-906. Now, I want to talk about rape now. A 38-year-old bartender was charged. That was on FBC News just today. Now, she's only 14 years old. Now, this man has, just ruined this teenager's life, don't you think? I mean, what happens? She's pregnant? What's going to happen? Do we have anything in Fiji that allows termination of pregnancy?
Yes.
I know in overseas, but that's a sensitive issue, I think. Yeah.
No, you can you can do it within the law if the child who's gotten pregnant is very young and it's through incest and rape, and then doctors have to agree. Several doctors have to agree, and it has to be done professionally, and that is allowed within that. Or if the child being born will put the mother in grave danger of losing her life, or if the child is has got something, diseases or some deformities and things that will not be conducive for the child to live or things like that. So it's quite complicated. So you have to have the good reasons, and I think several doctors in consultation, and they have to agree, and then you can have a termination. And particularly, I know that in incest cases, there have been over the past years and so on. But, Louise, it is available under the table. That is there. It's illegal, it's not, and so on. So we have to start having that debate, because women die, and we have to, women die during these backdoor abortions and things like that, or traditional or whatever is being done and things like that. So we have to, that debate needs to take place, but everyone is very silent about it.
Well, that's really good to know. I mean, I never knew that. But thank you very much, Shamima, for the information. We'll be back shortly on Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. Thank you a lot for your company. My guest in the studio, so good to have her back again. It's been a while. The coordinator of the Fiji Women's Crisis Center, Shamima Ali. And it's always good to hear from the experts. Now, I just wanted to ask, what are sexist comments? Can you explain simply what it is and give an example of one, please?
But it's like stereotyping and sexist comments
Related,
saying, oh,
yeah.
you're a girl, you can't do it. You're a girl, you can't do it. You are the weaker sex, all those kind of things, you know. So making that, oh, you want to become a surgeon? No, you can't, because only men can become surgeons because they've got the brains and things like that. So sexist comments are putting someone down based on their sex, whether they're male or they're female, and often it happens to women because, you know, these kind of comments, weaker sex and things like that. And so that's basically what sexist comments are.
All right, then. So a few weeks ago, I believe you had a meeting with the World Council of Churches Pilgrimage for Justice delegation. Can you tell us what the meeting was about?
Yes, the General Secretary was there of that particular delegation and so on. Yeah. So the World Council of Churches has had a history of working on ending violence against women. And actually the Thursdays in Black movement started from the World Council of Churches when they visited Bosnia during the war there, and how the women were imprisoned by the invading forces and prostituted for the recreation of the soldiers. You know, girls as young as 9 years old and upwards and so on, they're all put together in a camp. So they were so shocked when they went there. And so, you know, that's how then one of the women who was at the Women's Desk, Aruna, and she's retired now. So she started this Thursdays in Black, which we picked up, and we have been running that for over 20 years here now. So they've had that history, and this is the Justice Delegation. So they wanted to know what we are doing, how we can collaborate, how we are working with faith-based organizations in this country, particularly the Christian churches. So a good discussion took place, and for further collaboration.
Well, thank you for that. Now, what measures have been set up by the FWCC to address violence against women and children?
Oh, plenty. So we've got the core business, of course, is the counseling and advocacy for each individual. So we do both response and prevention. And we are not just a service provider, we also do prevention work. So we work with domestic violence survivors, rape, child rape survivors, sexual harassment, and anything related. So even as far as land issues where women's lands have been taken over from them, widows and things like that. So we work with all these people, people who have been put out of their homes by their sons or, you know, after their husbands die and things like that. So all kinds of issues come there. We also have brutality by security forces, those people, you know, human rights violations, they end up with us, then we do the proper referrals and counseling and things like that. So that's the core business, is that all our other programs come out of women's experiences of violence, women and children. So then we have a huge community outreach, huge, all over the place. It's really good. The traditional structures like provincial councils, Ito, KFS, all these people are working with us now, beginning to work with us, and we're really going out into the villages and so on, and other communities, advocacy and lobbying, you know, speaking out on, you know, for women, wherever there are violations and things. And always, you know, we've been talking for 35 years. I've been talking for 34 years of those 35 years. So, you know, all the very high level of that, training of other agencies and things like that. So also, you know, monitoring the media, what they're saying about women and how to use the media and things like that. We've got research unit, we've got a training unit. We do work around the Pacific, about 13 countries. We've got a Pacific Women's Network against violence against women. And then we've got the male advocacy program, working with men, male advocacy for women's human rights. There's a whole lot of programs that we are doing. We've got a legal department. It's not a legal aid center, but it's for our women, for, you know, for complicated cases, but also writing submissions, advocacy, lobbying, and keeping up with all the new laws and things like that. So it's quite huge, and we've got 4 branches in Lambasa, Rakiraki, Mba, and Nandi.
You might like to give the phone numbers, maybe?
Yes, of course. I mean,
each of them?
look, we are at 88 Gordon Street, and, you know, you can call 1560. 1560 is for everybody, everywhere.
That's a toll-free one.
Yes, the toll-free one. The other ones are not toll-free, our numbers here.
Yeah.
So, and then Ba Women's Crisis Center is 35 Navatu Street, Varandoli. And then if you go on our Facebook page, you can also find all this.
Right.
The Lambasa Women's Crisis Center is at Lot 3 Nayada subdivision of the hospital road. It's quite near. Nandi Women's Crisis Center is at 11 Vunisalato Road, opposite the Namaka Market. And then Rakiraki is at Lot 2 Yaratale Road in Vaileka. So, so these are all the physical positions, and then they've all got their own numbers that you can get on. And I'll leave it behind with you to, say it every now and then, so that'll be good, yeah. But 1560 is the one that you can get toll-free.
Yes, I mean, women need the support from the Fiji Women's
Yes.
Crisis Center because you know exactly what to do, and you also get things moving faster.
Yes.
I'm sure,
Yes,
because
yes.
sometimes, women want to get things done and it takes forever,
Yes.
Like even I know of a woman who is wanting, just to get maybe a medical report out, for her, for maintenance or something. And, they just not
Yes.
very helpful at all. They take so long.
Because the women at the crisis center are fearless women.
Okay.
We don't, when it comes to women's lives, children's lives, girls' lives, or anybody's lives.
You
for that
stand up
matter,
for them.
We stand up for them and we'll push people to do things. So if you get in touch with us, we will make the right phone calls, talk to the right people. And it's good. The commissioner of police talks to me. If I call, the deputy commissioner talks to me, and other people, and within the Ministry for Women, and so Women and Social Welfare and so on. So, so we are able to do those things. Sometimes we can go wrong. I'm not saying we're perfect,
Right.
but we'll be a lot better than others.
Yes, I
you
know.
that.
I mean, instead of taking forever. But just
Yes.
last words before we finish off, because we're about to end soon. What gets to me is, rape of all kinds is just wrong. And the one of, grandfathers with children, we have boys against boys. You only have to see the January statistic that was sent by DPP recently. It's not only limited to girls and women now.
boys
It's they're going for the little boys as well. What would be your advice? To people, guardians, or even parents. What do they need to do to avoid this situation? From happening in the first place. I'm sure the perpetrators must be really smart too
Yes,
to get
of
around
course
them.
they are. And, look, men have to just stop behaving badly. That's it. They have to know right from wrong, And I would say, because, guardians, and there are lots of men out there who would never dream of doing that thing. They love their children and
Yes.
but then there are those who are doing it, because 80% of perpetrators, whether on boys or girls or women, are known to them. And of that, 50% are our close relatives. So I would say be very aware, know the signs, and don't push your child to adults where the child doesn't want to go. The child knows best. If the child is uncomfortable, don't push the children there. Just talk to your child a lot more. What happened to you today? The child is quiet. Ask what is the reason in a friendly manner. And if the child starts telling you things, sometimes it can be horrendous. It can be your own father, your own husband, your own brother,
dear.
or anything like that. Do not tell the child to shut up. Encourage the child in a friendly manner to tell you more about it and do something about it. Don't ignore it because it's your boyfriend or the stepfather of the child, your husband or your father or your brother. Do not, because this is a child's and a life
Innocent
at stake. Yes.
person, an innocent child.
4 months is the youngest one that was molested. That is just
my
totally
Lord.
unacceptable. And then you
Yes.
have every month after that an year, 1 year old, 18-year-old, 10 months old. What is this? Yeah. So it's like really beyond comprehension. And when grandfathers who are supposed to be, grandparents are like loving towards them when they started doing it and things like that. So really, a lot of nice grandfathers, don't get me wrong.
Yes,
members here,
obviously, but
this,
then,
there are these people, and we can't get away from statistics.
Are there good sentences for
Yes.
these kind of offenses?
Yes, I believe so. What we have been seeing over the years, definitely a vast improvement.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Shamima, for coming to speak your mind.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, great. Until next time, we'll have more for you on Speak Your Mind. Gold FM, only the classic hits. Nisamo Demanda.